these sections won't be really.
And spend a lot of time trying to come up. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to ZBrush Live. I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay and can see my screen. And if you can, then we can go ahead and get going here. So if you could chime in on the chat and let me know, that would be awesome. All right. So while that is happening, I'll just mention here that you can do all the internet things like subscribe, leave a comment, all that good stuff. You know what to do. And if you have any questions, you can ask them during the stream. That's fine. And I will do my best to answer them for you. And if you're watching this after the fact, you can leave your question in the comments. And hopefully we will get back to you on that. So Okay, so John is saying, hey John, you're saying that you can hear me okay? Is that what the yes means? Okay, let's see. I'll just wait a couple of seconds here. I don't know if there's a bit of a delay, but there's enough of you watching, so hopefully somebody will chime in. All right, so 2 yeses, John Garrett. Okay, I guess maybe that's a yes that you can hear me. So we've got, looks like YouTube covered, and if we can also get somebody from changing glasses here because of my new handy dandy Sense Labs pen display. So I kind of, it's closer, so I need a different pair of glasses. So yeah, if somebody from Twitch can also chime in that you can hear me okay, that'll be awesome. All right, I've got somebody with a very long name saying hi, hello back. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce your name. Okay, so here we go. I think we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So let's go ahead and turn off this. And then here we are in ZBrush and good to go. All right. So we've been working on this guy. I did a little bit of work on him at Lightbox Expo. So I think you can see some differences from last time. I did a little bit of work here in the kind of chest area, and also attempted to add boots, but I don't know if I'm going to go with these ones. I might change them, or I might make a few changes to them, so I don't know. And I did some sculpting on the helmet, just a little bit more kind of refinement of these pieces, and that's basically it. Lightbox Expo was a lot of fun. We had quite a few people stop by the booth. I was there demoing on Saturday and Sunday, so I saw some friends there, and it was a good time. All right, so moving along, let's go ahead and see what will we do today. I'm going to go ahead and hide this guy's mask for now. Here we go. Oh yes, that's right. I did some sculpting on the skull. Not too happy with what I have, but maybe I'll do a little bit of that, and I guess that's a good place to start. All right. So I think last time I was having a little bit of growing pains with the pen tablet, but I have it pretty much toned in now. And I wanted to kind of show you guys this thing, which last time was not working. But basically, this is it's kind of attached to the side here. I got to peel it off. It's this thing, which is a quick keys. And basically, it's just a little device that attaches to the pen display. And then I have like my most commonly used commands on here. So instead of using my wheel that I used all the time, I'm actually going to be using this thing instead. And it's going to take a little bit of getting used to. And they've told me that they're also working on hopefully getting some sort of a solution for me in the way I used to work too. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so let's go ahead and isolate the skull here. And it looks like I'm kind of not really happy with the nose bit of business here. So I'm going to try and change that. And just to kind of remind people, if you haven't been on these streams, what we're doing is here's my reference sheet. And I'm going to try and see if I can bring this over to the middle. You can see here that these are images that I got off the internet. These are all AI generated images, which look very good from this distance. But the minute you start zooming in, you start discovering a lot of weird stuff that doesn't really work. So I'm actually trying to make a version of this that is actual 3D geometry and something that can be used in a movie or a TV show or something like that. Okay, so I'm kind of not too happy with the way the nose is over here, and I'm just trying to use the H-polish brush to get it back to the way it was, kind of just flat. And look at the silhouette here, and let's unsolo it. I just want to see what's around it, and maybe have this part kind of, let's see, I'm going to look at this part underneath here and maybe take this down a notch as well. All right. So just to kind of keep the conversation going, I'll talk about some things that I've been into lately. I watched this show on HBO called Scavenger's Reign. I don't know if anybody got a chance to check it out, but it's the best thing I've seen from an animation perspective for a very long time. It was really brilliant, and they just finished it too. I don't know for sure if they finished it. They aired the last episode that I saw, which was 12, but I don't know if that in fact is the last episode of the season, or if they plan on having continuing it. But it was really brilliant, so it was really great. So here I'm switching the brush, and you can kind of see the brush changing over here. I'm switching it using that quick keys, and here trying to get, let's go to the skull. Let's make sure that's what I have. Nope, not yet. There we go. So still got a mask on it down here too. Let's kind of iron this out. All right. And let's see if I can get this to somehow work. Let me go back to H-polish. I need to slam it down a bit more. I must say it's really a kind of a treat to actually be working on what looking at what I'm working on. I mean, I've used a tablet for a long time and I've liked it, but this is pretty nice too. Especially when drawing and painting, but for sculpting as well. Right, so I'm trying to see how I can incorporate the nose into here. So I'm just kind of bringing this part in a bit. I still want it to protrude the way it is here, but I want to also have the sockets for the nostrils. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. All right. Hey, Lloyd, how's it going? Thanks for joining. Good to have you here. Now, I've contemplated including the chat in this display, but there's always so much going on already, so I thought maybe it's a good idea not to do that for now. You can still read the chat if you go to the YouTube channel to watch this video after the fact. I think it stays on Twitch for a while, but on the YouTube channel you can see the entire transcript of the chat. So that way I kind of can preserve some of this on-screen memory. I mean on-screen real estate, not memory. All right, let's see. Do I use Polygroup It? I do use Polygroup It sometimes, yeah. It's so funny, you can achieve the same results in different ways. Polygroup It with paint is good to isolate different parts. I don't know if it's going to play into what I'm doing now, but it might. So here I'm just kind of chipping into the helmet area here where this part's kind of going to come through like so. So It's so funny because there's always like some annoying thing with PCs. Like one annoying thing was that my power supply fan was making a bad noise. And finally I contacted Dell, and they actually sent me a new one right away. It was here the next day. So I really like their service. And so I replaced it, and that's gone. But now I've got this Logitech keyboard, and I've got like the Windows key and the caps lock key, and I think one other key locked in the setting. But every time my machine hibernates or reboots or goes to sleep and it comes back, I have to re-establish that. So I think on my own old machine I didn't have to, but on this one I do. And I think it has to do with maybe it not getting USB power, the keyboard, so it's rebooting the keyboard every time. So I don't know. Probably there's a solution to it. It's probably my fault as well, but I'll probably figure it out. Right, so here I'm using the spray. Stroke to kind of create this, eroded bone kind of structure. And then I'm just going to go to H polish and just touch up the top parts. So there is a little bit of kind of recess, but not too much. But it definitely does look like eroded bone. And now I still have to make this nostril work. The problem is I've got these huge choppers, these huge teeth, and I got to figure out how to do it. Let's see if I can use the move tool and see if I can make these a little bit smaller. All right, let's see. Oliver G, thank you very much. I appreciate it. You have a box tech with 4 GPUs. Wow. What GPUs do you have in there? Yeah, I don't think there's any PC that doesn't have problems. I mean, people say Macs are great, but I know a lot of people that have Macs that have issues as well. So I think, it's always something. But I'm kind of curious as to what the 4 GPUs are that you have. Ahmed is asking, what is the best for Surface? Is it Dynamesh or ZModeler? It depends. If you watch the stream, if you watch the previous episodes of it, you will see me use both. So I do use ZModeler all the time, and I also use Dynamesh. So I guess my answer is it depends. It depends on what you're doing, and also it depends on your workflow. And yeah, so there. All right, so here I'm kind of getting these teeth to be a little bit less pronounced. And I've got, do I have symmetry on here? I don't. Okay, good. So I'm maybe going to lower them a bit too. So take this entire tooth area and just lower it. That, and also I'm kind of bringing it out a bit so it looks a bit more menacing. All right, here we go. I think I've created enough room to pop in some nostrils on this guy. And let's do this. I kind of still want to have his teeth be a bit menacing, but not too much. Like, I don't want it to be like he's evil. I just want it to be like that's his kind of skull that's been in there for a long time and kind of has deformed. And I'll kind of create the gap here inside in a minute, but for now I'm just kind of getting the placement of it to be where I want it to be, and for it to fit in. Okay, use mask brush that can only mask till the edges of the plane. Do you know what settings they use for it? Yes, Earth, I do know what settings they're used for it. So basically, and I have one of these brushes here. So let me see if I can find it. I did make one of those brushes, and I think it has to do with a couple of things. One of them is this embed here, and but yeah, I did research this and I did create a brush, and let me see if I have it somewhere. Here we go. My brushes. And I think it's this one. Let me see. All right, so if I bring it in, it's going to replace my masking brush, right? So and let me see if I got something here that I could do it on. Let's pick this thing, maybe. So see how I'm masking here, and it just goes to the edge and doesn't go around the edge. I guess it did in the bottom here, but the top it didn't. So here we go. But it is kind of stopping a little bit around the edges. And let's take a look at the settings of this brush. And here we go. Not Z plugin, but brush. And okay, so the first thing is for the mask brush here. The curve is the normal curve. The depth is where you make the change. So you can see here the embed. So you can turn on depth mask. So you turn that on, and then you can move this top part. The outer depth is 0, and the inner depth is -1. So this is the outer depth. You're just bringing that in, and you can see how here it is just straight, and the inner depth is at -1. Okay, so if you get this setting going, then that'll do it for you. Now this object obviously is not a planar, but let me see, maybe we'll do it. This is kind of planar, so let's see if I can do it here. So here I'm masking the top, and you can see, I guess it's going through. I don't know why. I think it's just because my brush is too big. Yeah, you can see here that I'm masking, and it's kind of stopping at the edge. And I don't even know if this is a flat object. Let me solo it out. I guess it is flat. Turn perspective off. Yep. So here, the embed is, let's just lift it up a bit to there. I'm just going to reset the brush. Okay. And I have 2 other versions of this brush. I'll also mention those. I should sell these, or I should put them online at some point. But yeah, this does it. But I have 2 versions of it. I've got top angle and bottom angle. So I'll go ahead and do the top angle first. And it's basically going to tell me it's replacing my mask brush. So if I hit, this is kind of the top angle, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm sorry. That was exactly the opposite of what I said. So if you have top angle, then that will do kind of the plane here. And your brush size has to be smaller. So if it goes over the edge, but see how it's kind of stopping at the edge over here? So that's kind of the way to do it. And probably this is not the best example here, but you can see that it goes a little bit over the edge over here, but maybe not. So you can always kind of kick it back away. But then you basically have that mask that way. All right, so that one, the top part is basically the outer depth is 1, inner depth is 0. Okay, so outer depth, inner depth 1, 0, embed is at 0, and depth mask is on. And this is for the mask brush. So make sure you press Control before you do it. And you can see that kind of over here as well. And then I have the opposite of it, which is mask bottom angle. And that is basically a little bit different, where it is the top part is 0 and the bottom is -1. Depth mat embed is at 0. Okay, so I think the mask top angle or bottom angle and the mask angle are the same. And these are just brushes that I have. So like I said, I mean, at some point maybe I will share these or put them online. The problem again with me is that I'm just myself. So getting the time to do my daily work, do this and do all the other things, I barely have enough time to do some of the marketing things I want to do, but eventually I will. All right, so I kind of want to go back to my other mask here. So I'm just going to scroll this up. AK mask. Just to make sure that that's the masking brush that I'm using, and to see that if it is, I'm just going to click on this over here. Nope, it didn't take. Let's see. All right, All right, back to what we were doing, and hopefully that answers your question, Ahmed. And then let's see. You have... oh no, Earth said that, not Ahmed. Sorry, yes. And then John, you're saying 128 gig of RAM, dual Xeon with 4 RTX G4, RTX Ti cards, RTX 2080s. Wow, that's great. Yeah. That thing must draw a lot of power, though. Okay, so Earth is cool. All right, good. And yeah, it's RTX 2080s are great. I used to have one as well. I didn't have 4 of them. I contemplated putting 2 in a machine, but man, A, it would be too loud. Excuse me. And also, I don't know if my machine could handle 2 of them. I don't know if I had a power supply powerful enough. What's the power supply you've got in there, John? Garrett? All right, what do I have to move brush? Okay, I don't want that with a straight stroke. Okay, let's just kind of reset this brush. All right, and then let's go on to the Damien Standard and the spray stroke. Just kind of, here we go. Now what's nice about this spray stroke is you can also use it with the Alt key, and it kind of creates these nice little kind of protrusions as well. Just a little bit of what happens also. All right, and then I'm just gonna H-polish the top parts of this down. All right. I think I'm fighting back and forth with this thing that's underneath it. Here we go. I think that's good. And then let's just get back to the Damien Standard here and create an indentation for where this piece is fitting. It was owned by DirecTV. Oh, wow. Okay. So you bought it used then? That's always a gamble when you buy a used machine because you don't know how it was used. But there are deals to be had. It's amazing how expensive technology is. It is also, it is also, the depreciation is formidable. I'm just kind of getting a little bit of that patterning over here as well. I'm going to reset this brush back to normal and just carve in. A bit here just to kind of get that going, and then with this one I'm going to do the opposite just to kind of create that. Here we go. And again, this is Dynamesh, even though it kind of is looking hard surfacey, it's still, I haven't really retopoed it or done anything to it yet. Let's go back to Damien Standard. See, the thing with the express keys is it's really nice, but I have to look away from what I'm working on. And that's why I prefer having the radial menu if possible. That would make life so much better. I mean, I'll still probably use the express keys for other things, but for kind of just switching between my favorite brushes, I think that's still kind of the fastest way, is not taking my eye off the work. All right, so we're still kind of trying to create a scenario here where I can have this guy's nostrils. All right, and I'm going to do that with masking. And I'm not going based on human anatomy here. I'm just kind of basing it on what I have in reference. Oops. All right, let's see. Okay. So David is asking if I ZBrush hard surface parts zero mesh them. I do zero mesh. So it all depends, right? It depends on what the project is. For concept design, I don't really care about good topology, even though I definitely do care about good topology in general. So the question you're asking is, do I zero mesh? And I do, and I reproject, right? So that way I have multiple levels of subdivision. As far as doing low poly baking in Substance Painter, depends on if I go to Substance Painter. I mean, sometimes I need to do that, and sometimes I don't. If I need to go to Substance Painter, I definitely need to have the low-res versions of the model to bake the high-res versions onto. But I don't know if I'm going to take this into Substance Painter. I haven't decided yet. It depends on how it goes. Now the problem is that when I'm doing these streams, I'm trying to stick to ZBrush and not other products. What I'll do is, and I've been saying this for a while, again, one of those things where it's going to happen at some point, but I don't know when, is that I'm going to do streams of my own, not with ZBrush Live. So I'll probably do a Friday with ZBrush Live and then a Friday on my own if I can swing it. And then that way I can use those sessions to do things that are not ZBrush. So things like Substance Painter and other programs. All right, so here I'm just basically creating this kind of area that I'm going to create the nostril in, right? And I just want this to kind of work, so I'm just going to use the gizmo to just push this in like that, maybe not that much, and also maybe I'll soften this mask a bit before I do it. And then harden the mask and push it in and push it up. I think that kind of looks interesting enough. Rotate it this way a bit. All right, let's see what we can do with this. And also I want to see what this looks like with the rest of the helmet. So kind of was worried this was going to happen. Of course, this part right here interferes with it, so I need to push this part in as well. Not a problem. Easily done. Solo that. So I just need to chip away at this part right here. And I'm just going to invert the mask. And push it in. This is still Dynamesh 2. But eventually I will zero mesh and retopo it. But for now, I'm just keeping it the way it is because it works. Okay, that did what I needed it to do. And it looks like the nostrils kind of are working. I'm trying to bring this out. And again, I'm working asymmetrically and non-symmetrically in this. So just using Damien Standard here just to kind of establish that nostril. And I'm going to be Dynamesh this. Actually, let's make sure Dynamesh is on. It is not on. All right, let's turn that on. 2048, that's good. And let's make sure we have everything is good. Let's try and see what that gives us. I think that's good enough. All right, let's see. Was originally $22,000 3 years ago. Oh, $22,000? Really? Wow. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean, that's kind of, I mean, you can get to that amount very quickly now with 4090 cards. I mean, that's 1,500 bucks just for one card. So I can imagine. Was I working at Nike before? No. I never worked at Nike. It'd be interesting to work at a tennis shoes company. I would like to at some point do a project with one of them, Nike or Adidas or any one of those companies. I don't know where you got the Nike from though. I think some of the most innovative designs are happening in tennis shoes. Not recently, but some of them have. Like I've seen some really cool tennis shoe designs over the years. Y3 has some good designs. Nike Labs has some good designs. All right, I'm kind of getting something here with this nostril, but I'm not liking it too much. I kind of want to leave some room between the end of the nostril and the teeth, and that's not happening with what I have here. I'm really fighting this geometry, but it's a fight I will win. Whoa, look at how much forward this whole thing came. I don't know how that happened, but not a problem. Just knock it back. At this point, I've really kind of obliterated some of the sculpting I had with the teeth. I think this is looking pretty good. So, you know, I mean, this is hard surface, but I'm doing some organic sculpting as well, which is something I also do. I think I'm not really known for doing organic sculpting, but I do organic sculpting also. And honestly, I don't differentiate between the two. I think, you know, surface is surface, whether it's hard or soft. But I can see how you could establish expertise in one versus the other. Here I'm just kind of creating room on the inside and just bringing these teeth out over. Oh, what is going on here? That's weird. Oh, it's because there's stuff underneath. Let's see if this can resolve itself somehow, or if I need to, yeah. Okay, so this is a good kind of problem to show how I solve. So since this is Dynameshed, and since this was really thin here, right? So if I show you a cross section, you can see here that it's a, you know, there's an inside part, there's an outside part, and then there are these kind of holes, and you know, that happens with Dynamesh. And the way to solve that is you just use the inflate brush, and you inflate these so they kind of crash over each other like this, and you re-Dynamesh. Where's the rest of the model? All right, and we just re-Dynamesh it, and they go away. Do I have one more? I have one more. I did lose a little bit of detail here, but that's fine. I can just resculpt it. I was going to resculpt it anyway, so it works out. Okay. You used to work at Oddworld, John? Wow. So what, when you're saying Oddworld, are you talking about the kind of the game, or are you talking about, is that the name of a company? I've worked with automotive design quite a bit, actually. I've worked with Hyundai, I've worked with Toyota, I've worked with, what was that name of that other company that actually owns a bunch of other companies? It's a Chinese company, and I forgot their name. Okay, re-dynamesh this. It's funny, he's got like this weird one big tooth. It's amazing how you know that kind of creates a very different type of vibe with the guy. Oh, the Oddworld video games, yeah. Like whatchamacallit is, did you work on that first Xbox game, the Something's Odyssey? That was I played that game. It was fun on the first Xbox. What was the thing's name? It was like this character, and it had a really interesting intro too. I want to say Abe's Odyssey or something like that. Yeah, Abe's Odyssey. Yeah, I guess I was right. One Tooth Helmet Boy. Yeah, that would be cool. Like if I just took this in the comedy direction, so the horror kind of. Actually, it's not even horror. It's just science fiction. I don't know if I mentioned kind of the story behind this guy, but basically, it's somebody who died, and but he basically downloaded his consciousness into this kind of suit, which is computerized. I mean, not computerized, but you know, it's kind of like some sort of a cryogenic type of a thing. And God, this tooth wants to just do that, doesn't it? And so he's kind of doing that. I also kind of toyed with the idea of making him into a space pirate. So if he's a space pirate, he's definitely menacing. But if he's not a space pirate, then he's just this kind of guy that basically is living in this suit that he made. And this is his actual skull that's in there, just to kind of, you know, establish his presence. Man, those Oddworld games were fun. Abe's Odyssey was fun. And that world was kind of a cool world too. If anybody's watched these the previous episodes, you know that I've got a neighbor who's got a kid who's just a screeching monster, and she's really screeching tonight, like she's making sure her parents don't have any more kids. I guess that's one way of doing it, right? Make it so miserable for them that they just don't want to have any more. That way you get all the attention. All right. Okay, this is starting to look a little bit more like I wanted it to. And I've spent quite a bit of time on this, so I'm going to step off of it just so I'm not obsessing over that same area. I tell my students not to spend too much time on one area, and here I am doing that exact thing. One other thing I want to do here before I move off of it is just change the color of this to be lighter. And let me find something good here. Let's go ahead and pick this one. See if I can find one in here. Let's say that one right here, set color, and no, lighter than that. I really like the Z color plugin because I can just basically decrease the saturation. It's a great way to kind of control the colors of ZBrush. And we increase the value a bit, set color. Okay, and then I'm just going to fill that object with that color. Let's just make sure RGB is on. Now I did do some poly painting on this, but I don't really care. And then let's move on to a different color. Let's pick this one, set color. Here we go. I just kind of want to see the contrast of that like lighter face inside of that helmet. Okay, it's looking okay so far. Actually, I want to pick a different color. I'm going to pick this one right here. And let's jump to here. So this is again kind of like a hard surface piece, and I just want to, in my reference, get to where I'm basing that off of, which is, and I'll just bring it up so you guys can see it, which is this right here. So I'm kind of going off of this. But again, like look at AI, it just has like some very strange kind of cut-ins here that don't make sense. I mean, if you look at it from far, your mind resolves that this is working over here. But as you get closer, look at how messed up it is. AI, the idiot savant of art. Okay, but you know, it does definitely give me some influence, and I'm probably getting that influence from some artist that did something where AI just sampled it. So I wish I knew what artist it was so I could thank him, but I don't know, because AI companies still don't kind of recognize who the work is from. They just basically steal. But you know, a lot of attention is getting to that. I just saw a good piece on this on the Sarah Silverman did a very good piece on it on The Daily Show, and they showed like the CEO of Midjourney, and it was kind of funny. She had some interesting things to say about him. But yeah, these people are feigning like, oh, you know, we're not doing anything. You know, they know exactly what they're doing. There's no way they don't know. They're just basically jacking people's work. There's no way. All right, let's see. You know, I don't want to say AI is all bad. I think there's some good things to it, John. But I think, you know, there needs to be some sort of guardrail, and you know, and if it is basing its work on other people's work, then those people need to get recognition and payment. More importantly, especially since, you know, artists aren't really making, you know. It's not like we're so rich that we don't really care if our work is being used or whatever. I remember, and you know, I should mention this. I basically have a movie company that based one of their models. I'm going to delete the lower on this. Based one of their models in a movie on one of my mechs, and when I approached the head of that company with that information, he said, well, you know, that's great, you know, you should be proud of your work, that, you know, it was so good that, you know, we we based our Mech off of it. And I was like, yeah, I am proud and thank you, but also, I need to pay rent. So maybe, if you are using my work, get me some recognition or hire me, or maybe give me some money for it. But they're not going to do it. I have a lot of friends in the industry. They always say that they see my work on their reference boards or whatever, but I never hear anything from some of the people that are the art directors to thank me or to give me any recognition. But, who knows? Maybe someday. Maybe they don't know, Maybe they're just like, oh yeah, this looks cool. Who's the artist? We don't know. That's also another thing. I should also mention that I have a lot of work in my reference folders, and I don't know who the artists are. Okay, so this one over here, I've kind of have zero meshed topology on, and this thing I think is just a thin piece. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to re-zero mesh it. So I'm just going to keep the same number of polygons and just remesh it again, just so it kind of conforms to some of the new geometric changes that I did. Yeah, I don't know why people feel like they can steal artists' work, like that's okay. Although, I mean, if you see kind of how stores are nowadays, retail stores in LA, people are stealing hard goods too, and they have security guards. Like the Ralph's I go to, the guard there looks like he's ready for war. He looks like a SWAT guy, like full-on body armor, guns, clips. Looks like he's just ready for action when it goes down at Ralph's. Ralph's is a supermarket for you international folks that might not know. It's a supermarket chain. All right. Let's see. All right. I think I kind of went on my soapbox a little bit more than I should here. So I'd like to formally apologize for all the things that I said. I didn't mean to offend anybody, but please pay the artists. So we can continue to create beautiful work for all of you. All right, so I'm kind of, again, getting stuck in one area. I kind of need to move around. So let's see, I need to create kind of a inset point here. So I'm just going to do that with masking. One of the things I need to do with this pen tablet is tune the single click. So I need to go into the settings and figure out how to do it. I mean, it works. It just, I need to kind of, do it a couple of times. And I'm sure there's a setting somewhere that will make it so I don't have to. Again, for the short amount of time I've had this thing, it's been pretty intuitive and straightforward. I can't believe I haven't used a display tablet all this time. But I'm glad these guys are the first because this is pretty neat. All right, I'm going to let this autosave. I did quite a bit of work here. A good time to get a swig of tea. All right, so I have a ZBrush mug. I have a ZBrush hat. And yeah. All right. Kind of still focusing on that skull because it looks so kind of cool. I'm probably going to be working on that quite a bit just to kind of get it to be what I want it to be. right, using H-polish here to establish some planes. And again, notice here that this is pretty soft at this point, but it's going to get pretty hard surface very soon. I'm actually not putting a time limit on this specific season. I think I'm going to take this for as long as I can. Maybe go 10 episodes or so, because I want it to be something really cool, and maybe possibly 3D print it. All right, taking a standard. One of the best pieces of news I got this week is that the actors' strike is over. So the writers' strike is over, the actors' strike is over. So hopefully this kind of work desert that I've been in ends, and I get some new cool projects to work on. That is a huge relief. I was kind of worried that what was going to happen was that, and here I'm just going to peel off a piece. What I was worried that was going to happen, there was some news that said that if they didn't reach an agreement, that they were going to go all the way to next year without renegotiating. So that would have been horrible, because that means that even though now the thing is resolved, it's going to take a while before they kind of get the ball rolling. I'm sure it'll happen pretty fast, but still it takes at least a few weeks for things to kind of start ramping up. But if it went to the end of the year, then I'd have to wait until February before I got something. So I'm kind of glad it's done. It's the best news I could hope for. Okay, so I'm going to basically peel off this piece over here. And I'm going to use Extract Pro to do it. Again, I've talked about this before. It's just a plugin that I bought on ArtStation, and it's basically extract. So extract menu is down here in under right here. So this will do the same thing, but Extract Pro does a few other steps. So it kind of makes my life a lot easier. So I don't, it makes my workflow a little bit faster. It creates it, it kind of separates it out, it zero meshes it. So now I have this piece, and then I'm just going to go to the curve, move brush, turn AccuCurve on, and get some harsh angles on this, and then zero mesh it in a minute. So I just kind of want this to be a separate piece that's sitting in here with a little bit of thickness, but first let me just kind of get the edges to work. So I don't know who was asking before about zero mesh and dynamesh. So this is kind of another workflow that I have for hard surface, which is basically extracting pieces and using move with H-polish to just kind of get some hard angles. That I'm just going to zero mesh this with the same number of polygons. Actually, let's go for less. Less polygons you have, the less you have to manage and deal with. Right, that looks okay, and let's go ahead and man, seriously, I really kind of am kicking myself for not getting a pen display before, because this is really nice to be actually working on what I'm seeing. I don't know if you know this, but if you are moving something and you hold shift down, it actually, after you start moving it, it moves it onto the surface of the object. And here I'm just bringing this thing out a bit this way. And let's zero mesh it again. So this is evenly distributed. Okay, so this is good. Now I'm just going to drop some loops here. So group loops of maybe one, no polish, no triangles, no polish, no triangles, and let's do it. And that basically just puts an edge loop around here. And then when I zero mesh it again, didn't do it, but actually this is good enough right here. And so now I'm going to go ahead and do dynamic subdiv on this, turn smoothness off, and give some thickness to it, maybe more thickness, more, and have it go out the other way. That's way too thick, maybe something like that. All right, so again, this is a very thin piece still, but I am kind of positioning it as, with dynamic subdiv as its own thing, just to kind of get an idea of what it would look like. All right, let's see, there's some stuff in the chat. Watch out for shoulder injuries. You mean with the pen display? John, is that what you meant when you said watch out for shoulder injuries, or? Oh, no, I don't think so. I mean, people kind of work, I mean, I'm working in a very natural setting. I've got this thing on an arm, and I've got one of these gloves that glides over the glass, and so I'm just basically, it's a very comfortable kind of scenario. I'm not like, kind of hunching over it. It's really kind of straight ahead in front of me. And I take ergonomics very seriously, just because I intend on doing this thing for a long time. I don't plan on retiring at all, ever. And if it's not like I'm doing this and then I'm going to do something else. This is what I do. So, I take ergonomics very, very seriously. Be it chairs or displays or but that's good to know. I'll kind of look into it, and if there's anything I can do to make that not be the case, I will do so. Same thing with glasses, same thing with everything else. Like, I kind of want to make sure that I'm able to do this for as long as I can physically. Right, so I'm going to re-zero mesh this, keeping groups. And I kind of thought that's what was going to happen. I'm just going to keep this at same. All right. Is there a smooth? No, there's no smooth group. So why is it smoothing it? It doesn't matter. You can always re-get that edge. I mean, I can understand how a tablet would be more natural. We've been writing on flat surfaces for a while, so that's I can see how that would be better, but I think this is kind of good too. All right. The lizard and Tirasu. Okay, so Mr. Lizard. Mr. Lizard. Kermanikian is not Finnish. It's Armenian. Although I'd like to go to Finland, and I have the utmost respect for the Finnish people, but unfortunately I am not Finnish, or fortunately, I don't know. I am Armenian. Well, I'm Armenian American, I guess. I did my 23andMe a while back, and I am about 92% Armenian. I've got a little bit of Italian, and I think there is some Roman ancestry in my history. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but I've heard it from my relatives that there is. And so I've got a little bit of Italian, but mostly Armenian. Okay, so that's kind of looking neat, but it's looking a little bit like an emblem, and I don't want it to be an emblem. I want it to be some sort of something utilitarian. So I will come back to that and figure out some other type of, here we go, this kind of did it. Let's do another remesh, just to kind of get that new thing in place. So hopefully, I think the person that was watching that was asking about hard surface, you can kind of get some ideas here as to how I just create hard surface pieces. And now I'm going to go back to this piece and try and match it to this one. So it's kind of a dance back and forth between what it's going into and what is kind of holding it in place. And I think maybe this would be nice if I maybe mask this part here, invert that mask, bring it over. There we go. So somehow this thing kind of clips into there. It's always good to think about how things work. All right, let's see here. Is this Pixelogic OG channel? It is Pixelogic OG. I am a Pixelogic OG streamer. And actually, it is on the it is Pixelogic, but Pixelogic is no longer Pixelogic. They're Maxon, so it is a Maxon channel. I should correct that. It's so funny. Everybody still kind of has trouble making that distinction, but yeah, they did join with Maxon, and that is definitely what this is. I wouldn't say sadly. I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually think it's a great thing. I really like the fact that Redshift is integrated in here. And I mean, the only thing that kind of went away is the free upgrades, which honestly, I mean, come on, you know, that was too good to be true. And they always said that they're not going to continue it forever. So whether Pixelogic did it or Maxon did it, that was going to happen one way or the other. So I'm thankful for all the free upgrades I got, and that was definitely a great value. But again, you can't, you know, you can't always get too much of a good thing. I mean, these guys are a business, so I get that. But other than that, I think from a growth perspective, I think, you know, Maxon will allow them to do a lot of things that they would not be able to do on their own. So I don't think that's a sad thing. I know a lot of people are kind of upset about that, but I think they'll come around. Because eventually, when they see all the cool things that get added, I think they'll appreciate it for what it is. All right, I'm kind of trying to make this work somehow by being indented, but it's not. So I'm going to push it forward. I mean, also the other thing is there's a precedent for big companies buying smaller companies and killing them, like Softimage, for example. I was a Softimage user before Autodesk bought it and killed it. So then I moved to Maya, and Maya is kind of the tool of choice, but it was not good for Softimage, obviously. But Autodesk had a lot of competing products. Maxon does not have a competing product with ZBrush. Actually, ZBrush is a pretty cool acquisition for them. All right. All right, let's see. Well, Pixologic will always be in our heart. I mean, it's just, this is how the company started, of course. Yeah, I mean, it's a name that we will all remember very fondly. I'm sure they remember their name fondly as well. Yeah, I don't, interesting thing about what you said about Adobe, because they just announced a kind of a joint thing that you can buy. So you can buy Maxon One and the Adobe 3D Suite at a discounted price. So I don't know if that's any indication of anything, but that was an interesting thing to observe. Okay, I've been experimenting with 3D Code and voxel-based sculpting. I've worked with 3D Code. I mean, it's fine. It's just not ZBrush. There are definitely some things that it does that ZBrush doesn't, but also ZBrush does so many things that it's going to take a long time for 3D Code to do. But yeah, I don't think that's a bad program. And if you're experimenting with that, I am as well. It's always kind of good to kind of keep up with what's out there. But I find myself, limited by, things I want to do that I can't do in it. Let's see. Have I been in the industry for a long time? Yeah, at least 15, 20 years. I used to work for Microsoft before, so I have a kind of a computer science background, but at some point I decided that I wanted to do this instead and have been doing it since. Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens. I mean, a lot of these companies, they start out small and they get to a point where they either want to quit, which isn't the case here, and they sell their company, or they get to a point where there's nothing more they can do and by themselves, or they've kind of reached a point where they see that merging with another company can give them more options. I mean, if you look at the Substance tools, I think they've done okay under Adobe. I don't think they've done badly. I mean, the thing that people don't realize is you can still buy Substance Painter. You can still buy it as a separate program. You don't have to subscribe. Unlike Photoshop, you can still buy Substance Painter individually. You can buy it on Steam. And yeah, and you can still, by the way, you don't have to subscribe to ZBrush either. You can still buy a perpetual license. You just don't get free upgrades, but like I said, that was a good thing, and I don't mind paying for it because I make my living with it, so it's a worthwhile investment for me. I mean, really, if you think about it, like if you are in a business, you know, whatever business you're in, you are paying for the tools of that business. So ZBrush isn't that different. And if you're paying $600 a year for that tool, hopefully you're making a lot more than that. Right? So this is kind of coming along nicely over here, this piece. And we'll put some kind of little details on it later on, but for now I think it's looking good. I've actually not looked at the time. I'm having so much fun. Oh, good. We have plenty of time left. That's great. All right. piece is there. I'm kind of looking at my reference here to see what other types of things I could do. Man, to think about like how far ZBrush has come. I bought ZBrush in 2005, and you know, I mean, it did some neat stuff then compared to everything else in the industry. But what it does now compared to what it did then, oh my gosh. And remember, you know, when I bought it in 2005, I did not pay for a single upgrade until 2022. So that's not bad. That was a great investment. And I don't begrudge them at all for anything, because that was something that they did on their own. So I'm very thankful for that. All right, so I kind of want a harsher corner here on this one, and I'm not getting it. Let me see if I can. See, it's basically, I'm just kind of moving the geometry to accommodate for that harsher corner. There we go. And then in this inside part, yeah, but if you guys, you know, if you're into science fiction stuff, if you haven't seen Scavenger's Reign, definitely check it out. It's so good. You know, every once in a while you see a show and it just lives in your head forever, and that's one of them. Right, so I'm going to probably put some sort of a buckle or something in there to just kind of accentuate that area. So this is kind of starting to look pretty good. I have the back strap that I did last time. I think I showed you guys how to do it. I also started to do these belt buckles over here and everything like that. So let's move on to the boots. Again, I don't want to stay in one place for a long time. Just so I can kind of change things around. So let's take a look at the topology of this thing. Do I have any subdivision levels on it? I do. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the higher subdivision level. And the thing I don't like about it is this kind of this wobbly top part. So I'm just going to do, I'm going to go ahead and, did I do it? I did. I'm just going to go ahead and just do one of these to it. Okay. Just want it to be more like this. And I don't know yet if I'm going to incorporate this into the suit or not. So I'm just going to zero mesh this thing at the same amount. What's nice about cloth simulation is that if you zero mesh it, then the topology kind of takes over where the cloth was and kind of conforms to it, which is kind of nice. Right. I don't know if I want the boots to be this high either, so let's go ahead and bring them further down. And let's zero mesh them again. It's kind of creating these lips on the top that I'm not really too happy with, but I'll probably Dynamesh and Zero Mesh them later. The other thing about these is that they're not really symmetrical. You started 3D, yeah, 3D printing is one of those things where, I wish I had the time and the space to do it. But actually, I'm looking for friends that have 3D printers and like 3D printing, and maybe have them print my models for me. Because, again, it's just a matter of the hours in the day, and every minute I'm spending 3D printing or doing that kind of stuff, I'm not modeling or working on what I want to work on. So yeah. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try something else. I'm going to try masking this area. Like that. And I'm going to run the cloth simulation, see what I get. I do have that on fast menus, but I'm actually just going to bring it up over here. All right, I want to have gravity of 0.1, 0.4, and I want to contract this in. And let's calculate the collision volume and run that simulation. Whoa, right? Maybe change that inflate down to 0.1. Try adding expand to this and deflate. Maybe a lot less of an expand. What I was kind of hoping for is that like this kind of drapes over, but that's not happening. Let me try deflate off and expand off. And let's just see if this works or is any good. Nope, it's a bit too much. How about if I have a little bit of deflate added to it? Let's see if that does it. John, yeah, hit me up. My email address, my information, by the way, this I guess would be a good time to mention all this good stuff, is that if you want to know more information about me, I have a Kermaco.com is my website, and I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. Okay, let me bring this down further. Kermaco.com right here is my website, so you can go ahead and go there. And you can see my work, but there's a contact button over here that you can click on, and that opens up a browser window that allows you to contact me. So that's one way of doing it, and also another way to do it is if I'm on Instagram, and that's usually where I post all of my newer stuff. So I'm trying to get my mouse over to here. Yep. So on my Instagram, there's all kind of my newer works, and also you can contact me on here. You can follow me and contact me on this. And so, I get a lot of messages on Instagram as well. And I've got my link tree over here that basically gives you all of my information. And I should add a contact as well. So I do have a Gumroad, and I do have a couple of things. One is this primitives brush. You can get 17. The graphic is old, but you can get 17 core primitives for free. Or if you want the one that has 36 primitives, has some of these extra pieces, it's $5. And you can also get my UI colors for free. You can download that on my Gumroad. And again, to get to my Gumroad, just go to my Instagram, the link tree, and that gives you that link right here. And I also have a couple of titles on Gnomon Workshop. So I have 3D Scan for and Topology for production.
Let's go through a quick
And
overview.
I am updating this, so there'll be a newer version of this out soon, and probably sometime next year. And I'm also I also have one that is basically my entire design process, where I basically show how I do mech design. I start with VR and go all the way down to using ZBrush and Substance Painter and all that. So you can kind of see some of my process here of how to kind of design something like this, and you know, get to a mech, UVing it and texturing it, and etc., and rendering it. So if you kind of want to know my process beginning to end, this is a good tutorial to watch right here. So yeah, John, definitely contact me if you want to collaborate on 3D printing. That would be great. I would love to kind of have these things as objects. I mean, I have 3D printed some of my things. I mean, here's one piece that I have, and I'll show it. This is that kind of let me see, I'm gonna try to get a contrast here. Let's see how close I can get. Yeah, so this is a kind of a little thing that pops up on top of this car I designed, and I had a 3D printer for a while that I printed this on, but it just was too much work, you know. And you know, not that I'm, you know, shirking the work, but it was just too much kind of non-core work of, like, you know. And also I don't really have a garage, so I was kind of worried about the fumes, and yeah, but it was fun. It was fun to kind of hold in my hand something that I'd designed in ZBrush. I don't know if these boots are working for me. I might want to change these to something else, but I'm just going to leave them for now because I don't want to deal with it, and I want to do something about these fingers that kind of look really horrible. Go to them. Right. So yeah, this is just kind of like the body underneath. And by the way, this is all polygrouped, so I can work on the fingers and the hand individually without changing any of the stuff underneath. Go to rectangle. And just hide all these pieces. Just focus on the hands, and I'm just going to duplicate this, and I'm going to delete the hidden parts, so I just have these hands to work with. And first thing I want to do is orient these correctly. Okay, great. John, thanks for sending me your email. It definitely will communicate with you and get this going. I think it'll be awesome collaboration. Mr. Lizard is asking, what's the best advice for someone who wants to get into hard surface from organic stuff? The best advice. I don't know if I have the best advice, but I can mention a few things that you can do. So, you know, hard surface stuff is mechanical. So there is an anatomy to mechanical objects as well, and the way you can kind of bone up on that or learn about it is by, this is weird, there's this one like weird little polygroup on its own over here. Isn't that strange? Here, let's get that fixed. Polygroup, single poly, and let's absorb that and fix this. Okay. Mirroring is on, so it did it on the other side too. Not a problem. We'll do it over here separately. Okay. So coming back to the topic at hand, yeah, so there is an anatomy to mechanical objects, and what I highly recommend is start studying mechanical things like, I don't know, cars, tractors, motorcycles, machines of sorts, just mechanical parts, like maybe go to a mechanic's shop and kind of look around and see kind of the inside of cars and how they're put together, how things attach, how things are built. That all really helps. So yeah, I think learning that is more important than, you know, I mean, it's not just the techniques used in software, but it's also understanding the underlying information. And so that basically makes it easier for you to kind of understand how to build those things if you understand how they work. I remember when I taught at Art Center, they had a course that basically for entertainment designers, it was just a course specifically on how things work. So just kind of an understanding of like, okay, if you're going to design something, you have to design something that, you know, will convince people that this thing can work, that it does have a functionality to it, versus something that, you know, cannot work. So, you know, I mean, if you look at like some of these construction machines and the pistons and all the different things that make them up, you know, it's kind of neat to understand how those work. You know, how's the push and pull happening with those pistons? How are the hydraulics working? Why are they where they are? And how they're connected? Things like that. I mean, just simple things like, you know, if you have an object, why are the screws where they are? Why are things built the way they're built? And if you get a good understanding of that, then it'll be easy for you to kind of replicate that. So yeah, I would definitely say if you studied anatomy to do good. Yeah, these fingers look a lot better. If you studied anatomy to do your organic modeling, then you need to study the equivalent of that in the mechanical world, just to kind of get an idea of how things are. And I do that quite a bit. I've got a lot of books that I read. I go and do a lot of explorations of museums and whatnot. And I talk about that, by the way, extensively in my Gnomon workshop. I talk about how I do research. And it's cumulative. Like over time, you kind of learn more and more and more, and it adds up over time. So don't expect to like be like, okay, well, you know, if you use ZModeler, then you'll know how to do hard surface modeling. No. I mean, it'll help, but you also need to know what you're working on. Well, this is coming along nicely. I'm kind of really liking the way it's turning out. All right, so these fingers look a lot better than what was underneath. And I wonder if I can just get rid of what's underneath. I don't know if any of it is showing. So let's go ahead and see if I can turn that off. Where are you? By the way, I have eyes for this thing too, but I don't know if I'm going to use them. Where's that body that had the hands? Is this it? No. This? No. This? Nope. Huh. All right, well, let's see if I can just select it from here. Where are you? Okay, there it is. No, these are the hands that I used. But what about the ones underneath? Oh, you know what? Yes, that's right. The reason why I'm not seeing what's there is because I hit it. So here it is. So yeah, I don't think I need any of this at all. I can hide it. right? And move over to this. Why is it still there? Do I have another one? Do have another one. All right, I had that one too. Here we go. All right, now these hands look a lot better. What I want to do here is maybe lift up the knee a bit on this guy. So I'm going to take the liberty to do that here. Do I have symmetry on? No, I don't. Let's turn symmetry on for a minute on the cloth. And I just want to lift up the knee just a little bit. And I just want to look at the silhouette here to see if this is working. And I think it is for the most part, but I think the legs need to be a little bit longer. All right, I think I'm going to nix these boots. Just going to hide them for now. Where are they? They are here. And do I also have shoes that I've hidden? What's all this? These are just things that I will look at. But I guess I don't have shoes, do I? Oh, no, I do. No, these are the boots. I don't want to show everything because I don't want to deal with hiding everything again. So I guess I'm glad I didn't get rid of those boots, but I can always regenerate the shoes. So I'm not going to worry about that too much. And I want to make these a bit longer. Just give it longer legs. Like so. And also I want to make these fingers a little bit longer. This is going to be kind of touchy. Mouse that part. Pick a really big brush size and just do this. I think I can turn on symmetry for this. I'm probably going to add some mechanical components to these hands at some point. I don't know why they keep getting thinner. Oh, I know why. It's because when I hit them with the smooth brush, that made them thinner. I don't want to make them smoother. That's good. I think that should balance out the geometry nicely. I think that's good. Yep. All right, so since I got rid of the boots, let's bring them back and move them down. Right, let's let that autosave. How are we doing on time? All right, we still got a good chunk left. And let's move this over this way. Sorry, I haven't had to check the chat for a while. I've just been kind of trying to get this to work. And it looks like these boots are going to somehow stay. But I have to figure something out for them to work better. Are they polygrouped still? Nope, they're not. Okay, so I can't just get shoes off of them, but we'll see. All right, so this looks a little bit better where he's a little bit taller, not too much. And I want to turn transparency on. I think I brought them down a bit too much, so I'm going to lift them up. And this is kind of adding a little bit more character to them. But I'll have to kind of do some work on that a little bit later. All right. John, I don't know Jeff Shaw, but boat and yacht design, man, that sounds like a fun gig. Yeah, ZModeler is difficult. Oh, yeah, I mean, the thing with ZModeler also, Captain Lizard, I'm sorry, I'm calling it Captain Lizard. It's the Lizard Amaterasu. The thing with ZModeler is you also kind of need to know a little bit about topology. So I guess that's the other thing I would mention is, knowing how topology works is important. But ZModeler takes a little bit of time to learn. It does. What I highly recommend you do is, I think Joseph Drust, when he was working for the ZBrush people, he had a bunch of trainings on it, and he had a training for every single tool on there. And I think those are still around on Z Classroom, so you can go and watch them. And I recommend you watch those. They're really, really good. So just, Google Z Classroom and Joseph Drust and ZModeler, and you'll find them. So every single one of them he's got a training on, which, I'm sure was a pretty incredible thing to do. They haven't added much to ZModeler lately, but I think they're kind of focusing on some of the newer capabilities, like rendering, for example. All right, so let's see. The silhouette looks a lot better now. I kind of want this guy to be lanky and long, so this is kind of working for that purpose. Just lift this a little bit higher. Again, I'm looking at the silhouette here just to kind of confirm my choices. Yeah, but I highly recommend checking out Joseph's ZModeler stuff. I've toyed around with creating a ZModeler kind of tutorial as well, but one thing at a time. I want to finish my photogrammetry one first, because I've got some friends that will benefit from that. And it's kind of one that I do for work sometimes. So now that I kind of did a big project with photogrammetry, I want to share that knowledge before I kind of move on to something else. All right, so this guy's looking really interesting. I'm just kind of wondering, like looking at some science fiction hallway, and this guy's walking towards me. I have to kind of figure out a way, like, to have like a voice box or something that he speaks out of. Oh, you know what? Here's something that is missing, is his neck. So I need to turn back that body on that body. Where was it? At some point I need to go and name everything too. Right now it's kind of everything's just copies of things. So here's the body right here. I'm going to turn that back on. Of course that's going to bring in the old hands, which I don't want. But guess this would be a good time to show you how I would do that. A good program to use to do that is Wrap 3D. So if I want to wrap the new hands or the existing hands onto the new hands, that's what I would use. And they have a ZBrush integrated version too, which is called ZWrap. And I have it. I don't know if it's, I haven't used it for a little while. I think they might have come out with a new version, but that's how I would match the body hand. So here, let me just go to the body here. So the fingers here, and then I have the other fingers that I made, which are these ones, which are a little bit different. So what I want to do is I want to take these fingers and have them match this one. And ZWrap is the way to do it, or Wrap 3D. If I want to take them out of ZBrush and then bring them back in, that's how I would do it. You like it when the neck goes missing? That's funny. Yeah. All right. So I guess I'm just going to do something kind of a bit of a trick here, where I'm going to choose this part, solo it out. And again, since I have polygroups on this thing, I can just hide the hands. And just go up in subdivision levels. Here we go. What happened? Okay. Oh, I have two bodies. That's right. All right, here we go. So now I've got the neck and I've got the new hands. I am happy camper. All right. So, and I can also probably pop out that neck. Well, I think this is an older body, so maybe I'm not going to use this body. Well, what I can do also with the body is just go down in subdivision levels on it. And just tuck these in. All right. Where did my hands go? It's not the ones I want. Yeah, see, at this point, this, it's starting to get kind of, I'm figuring out where things are. So this would be a very good time to go and start naming things, but I'm not going to bore you guys with doing that. I'll do it off camera later. But where did my hands go? Let's bring this thing up and this thing. So the hands are probably, are they part of this? They are. So hey, guess what? I do have a neck. I just didn't have it, I had it hidden. So I don't even need to deal with this other body anymore. Here we go. I've got the neck, I've got the hands, and I've got the subdivision levels. We are golden all around. Right? These are the new hands for sure. Yep, they are. Okay, good. All right. Uh-oh. Having something beyond forever save is like, horrible. Because that means, it might crash. And if it does, then you lose your model. I've had that happen to me so many times. So that's why I save often and early. But I'd let it go. I'd let it run. It might still be doing stuff. All right. What else do I want to work on today? I think that's kind of a good chunk of stuff to get going here. Oh, I have this part kind of protruding too. Tuck that in. All right, so I think I'm going to maybe create like some strappy things here for his that go down to his knees or whatever, and maybe connect to the boots, and maybe connect something here in the back for this. But I'm getting pretty close to getting done with all the parts I want to add to this model. Then it's just going to be refining and adding alphas and stuff to it to kind of bring out some details. I also probably want to put some more stuff in the neck here, just because in my reference I have the reference that I have has a bunch of other things that kind of go in this neck area. So you can see here, like there's all this stuff in here that I'm probably going to add wires and whatnot. So maybe we'll do that next time, is add wires. I'm going to do that with Z-spheres and also the tube brush. But I think this is a good point to stop at this point. I think I'm getting pretty close to 9 o'clock. I'm going to end it a little bit early today. But John, yeah, I'm looking forward to talking to you via email about 3D printing stuff. And everybody else, thank you for joining me. There's quite a few on. I really appreciate it when you guys are on live. It makes this a lot more fun for me to talk to you all. Even though I can't hear you, I can see your texts, and happy to answer questions as always. And I will be on again in a couple of Fridays, so hopefully I will see you all then. And with that, I want to wish you all a good evening or a good day or whatever time you have where you are, and wish you all happy ZBrushing. We'll